So at the end of good turn 2, the white lions once again are unable to finish off the lead belters, and stubborn 10 lead belters kick them out of the building once again. On the bad turn 3, he charges my double paladin BSB unit with his giant there. I wasn't too worried about it because of all my static combat res, and I didn't really know how scary a giant was. Saber Tusk at the bottom charges his eagle, my ally's eagle. In the center, the Mournfangs fail to rally, and his High Elf Dragon finally moves more towards the center, trying to get in the fight. During High Elf Magic phase, he rolled some Lore of Metal spell that'll kill rank and file on a 5 and characters on a 6. And sure enough, I roll a 6 and my general dies. So after close combat here in the center, the Saber Tusk beat the eagle who fled through my Knights of the Realm, and the giant rolled some special attack that makes him do 2d6 strength 6 attacks every close combat phase, which, yeah, was grinding down my knights really quick. The Seaguard finally beat the Dragon Princes, and when they pursued, they ended up right in the rear of my ally Swordmasters, which was tough for him. And so my ally Swordmasters actually had been cut in half by a lead belcher or a iron blaster shot going right down the rank. So they're weakened, and yeah, might take some punishment from the Seaguard. So here's another close-up of that. And the big one in the middle, the Spears managed to hang on, but my last Grail Knight gets killed. On good turn 3, I charge the rear of the Seaguard with my double Paladin unit. Definitely going to be a big points pickup there. Let's see. Shooting phase, my Peasant Bowmen show the elite High Elf Archers how it's done. Take down a Saber Tusk there. After close combat, Knight's still grinding it out with the Giant up top. My Paladins have managed to put a few wounds on that Giant, but yeah, he's definitely getting the better of us. So we crush through the Seaguard, and Swordmasters reform. The only one left in that unit is the Mage that they're about to chop up. So in the center, I didn't take a picture of it, but my allies BSB and General unit charged into the Iron Gut Horde, and after that combat, they lost a couple Silver Helms. The Spears really got ground down, lost their Steadfast and ran off the board. And then his Iron Guts reformed to face my allies' General's unit. So this, I think, is just showing the continual failure of the White Lions against the lead belchers in the building. So bad turn 4, Phoenix Guard finally move up. Their shooting phase, the lead belchers kill the White Lions to a man. So definitely disappointing because you know, I consider White Lions to be one of the most dangerous infantry units in the game. And they also had Banner of Eternal Flame, enabling them to reroll wounds when assaulting a building. So if they can't do it, nobody can. So yeah, general idea here is just don't go into buildings. It's not worth it. Close combat here, my double Paladin unit finishes off my opponent's Giant. But that Giant certainly got his damage in before he went down. In the center, my allies BSB I think killed one of my opponent's characters in a challenge, and his general wore down a couple ogres, and surprisingly they held, which was great. So on good turn 4, my double paladin unit that had finished off the Sea Guard slams into the rear of the Iron Guts. So they've been kind of weakened by the bolt throwers hitting home, which is where my Peg Knights would have come into play if I didn't have to sacrifice them early in the game. But if we can somehow, some way beat this unit, we'll have the game, because this unit, I think we calculated, was easily more than half of his army, with his 5 characters and Iron Gut Horde, just a huge point sink. So it's going to be tough to do, but making this charge is worth it. So after close combat, rubber lanced it a little bit, but we still killed a significant number of ogres. My allies' BSB died, but not before putting a couple wounds on him. And my allies' lord wiped the floor with another one of his characters. Yeah, this high elf character he can basically take on any other character one-on-one, no problem. Unless maybe you're riding a huge dragon or something, but strength 7, rerollable 1-up armor save, and the talisman of luck. He's very dangerous. So here's a picture back from Bad Guys Turn 4. So he'd rallied his Mournfangs, as you can see. And this was before my knights slammed into the rear of the Iron Guts. So, yeah, he's way far away. There's pretty much no way he's going to get in on Bad Guys Turn 5. Unless he rolls an 11. And sure enough, he rolls exactly an 11. And that's the game right there. So, no chance now of finishing off this Iron Gut unit. And, yeah, that's unfortunate. So after combat, yeah, knights get crushed as expected. My ally's character cleans up yet another of my opponent's characters, which was awesome. If only we had gotten him into combat sooner with this unit. So turns 5 and 6 go quick because there's not really much left to do, but by the end of the game, looks like this. My ally's general gets ground down. Knights get crushed, obviously. Over here, this was my double paladin unit that had finished off the giant. And I'm down to 1 paladin with 1 wound remaining. So I'd lost my lookout sir, and so my knights and BSB just got crushed by the Iron Blasters. So this is showing the remainder of the Leadbelter unit in that building that the White Lions tried so hard to take. Kept winning combats, but it didn't matter because the rule of being stubborn in a building. So by the end of the game, we're just firing all of our bowmen. I think I fired a couple treb shots at this thing just for morale points. And sure enough, a Leadbelter remains with a wound remaining. So this was the end of our MegaBattle. Ended up being a great game, a lot of fun. Clearly, my level 4 running off the board turn 1 was hugely significant. I can think of a very large number of things that unit could have done to help us out. Even if they got into the Iron Guts really early in the game and died completely, the wounds they did probably would have allowed us to finish it off. Also, it really set my ally back in terms of magic, the way we had the rules set up. So it just wasn't fair for him at all, and may have taken some of the fun out of it. So we'll change that up in the future. On the whole, I think our plan was fairly good. We cleaned up the left side of the board despite a few things not going our way over there. Took out the big point sink of Seaguard, which was great. And it was really on the right side of the board that our failures became apparent. Our generals units were really wasted. So, we're just thinking about that big dragon flying down our flank, and we certainly deployed in a manner that prepared us for it. But at a minimum, I think maybe we should have left my general's unit there as a deterrent for the dragon and gotten his into combat much quicker. Additionally, the White Lions going into the building ended up being a huge disaster. Their high-strength attacks could have been absolutely huge when it came down to weakening that Iron Gut horde. So, yeah, we'd probably just have to throw some Treb shots at it. Hopefully knock off a couple lead belters and hope for the best. Also, might have been nice to get the Sword Masters closer to that Iron Gut unit as well, or at least wheel more towards the center so that they had a flank opportunity on them. But still, it wasn't a complete disaster for us. We did do some things well, which is always good. Obviously, our list suffered from way too many bowmen. My bowmen managed to do their job in protecting the Trebs, and they killed both saber tusks. But unfortunately, the High F bowmen really had no impact at all in the game. But clearly we were limited by models, so that's what we did. So I'm sure I missed one or two details from the match. There's just so much going on. It's tough to remember. Also, probably should have taken a couple more pictures and done the report directly after I played, but I don't always have time. So, some closing points. Yeah, don't assault a building with lead belters in it. Just not worth it. In fact, don't go into buildings, period. Takes you a turn to get in them, a turn to get out of them, and another turn before you can even charge. So it's just a big waste of time. The only time you want to go in is if you have some kind of ranged unit. But yeah, I don't like the building rules. So the other point is, if you ever run into a huge Iron Gut horde like this one, you either need to just avoid it and send a bunch of redirectors at it to waste its time all game. And we could have done that. We had a chariot and 2 eagles that could have wasted that unit's time for at least 3 turns of the game. And 2, if you're going to fight it, you need to combo it. And we could have done that effectively here. So if you look at where the Iron Gut horde is positioned, we could have kept the spear block and white lines there to hold the center, kind of refuse the center. Then we could have marched our sword masters and silver helms plus Grail Knights closer to the flanks and set up a really nasty combo charge on that unit if he decided to come up the middle. So yeah, we hit it with a lot, but it wasn't all at once. If it had been all at once, we would have been much better off. So in spite of our defeat, I attempted to reclaim lost glories by fighting the battle that could have been. So my general challenged his 750-point general to a duel. So I charged in, I swung my mighty hammer of awesome, and
monster kill! Holy shit!
Consecutive killing blows in 2 rounds of combat without suffering a single wound. If only this had occurred during the game. Oh well. Despite our loss, this duel here was definitely worth the glory. So in our next game, I'll be allied again with my high F ally, and we're going to be combined at 3k against 3k of Tomb Kings. So my alternate army is actually Tomb Kings. I haven't even brought them out to play, but we have another guy playing them, and it's kind of a siege scenario, so that should be pretty interesting. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed, and subscribe if you like, and subscribe over at Ogre Wargaming as well.